Staubes, niemand fragt, ob es euch gibt. Keiner hat euch je geliebt, nutzlos wie der Staub. Lässt dich
Me alegro verte, bienvenido aquí en Jugend eine Welt.
Muchas gracias, Reinhard.
Euch hier am anderen Ende der Kamera ein schönes Grüß Gott, einen schönen Nachmittag hier bei Jugend eine Welt. Wir befinden uns hier im Besprechungszimmer von Jugend eine Welt in Wien im 13. Bezirk. Und ich als Geschäftsführer Reinhard Heiserer freue mich, dass wir hier den Pater Rafael bei uns zu Gast haben. Ein gebürtiger Kolumbianer, der jetzt seit einigen Jahren in der Generalleitung des Ordens in Rom arbeitet. Wir kennen uns seit vielen, vielen Jahren aus Medellin, wo wir uns getroffen haben. Dort, wo Jugend eine Welt auch Projekte unterstützt. Und der Pater Rafael wird uns heute erzählen über seinen Weg zum Salesianer, über seine Arbeit mit benachteiligten Kindern und Jugendlichen und das, was der Orden heute weltweit macht. Jugend eine Welt selber ist ja als Organisation vor 28 Jahren gegründet. Und ich persönlich habe Erfahrung mit den Salesianern gemacht, mit Straßenkinderarbeit, etwas, was uns verbindet. Auch der Pater Rafael hat mit Straßenkindern gearbeitet. Und wir wollen es einfach nützen, um uns darüber ein bisschen auszutauschen. Damit ihr noch einmal Jugend eine Welt einordnen könnt, wir arbeiten seit 28 Jahren für benachteiligte Kinder und Jugendliche. Begonnen damals Mexiko, Ecuador, Ghana, Indien, verschiedene Länder, wo wir einen Fokus drauf hatten. Mittlerweile sind wir gewachsen und es gibt verschiedene Themen. Straßenkinder aber sind nach wie vor im Mittelpunkt. Und ich habe euch mitgebracht hier einen Heiligenschein. Es ist nicht ein richtiger Heiligenschein, es ist ein Jonglierring. Aber was soll uns der sagen? Wir befinden uns im Monat von Don Bosco. Es ist die Fiesta Don Bosco, der 31. Januar, der Sterbetag Don Boscos, sein Geburtstag in den Himmel, wie man auch sagt, ja. Und vielfach haben wir in der Vergangenheit einfach auf diesen tollen Don Bosco geschaut, auf diesen Jugendpatron, auf den Gründer der Ordensgemeinschaft der Salesianer Don Boscos, der Mitgründer der Don Bosco Schwestern. Und was wir machen wollen, ist nicht nur auf diesen Don Bosco zu schauen, auf diesen Lehrer der Jugend, auf diesen Sozialarbeiter, sondern durch den Heiligenschein hindurch auf die sozialen Nöte und Probleme, die es damals schon gab bei Don Bosco zu seiner Zeit und Probleme, die es heute noch immer gibt. Und das, was Don Bosco erlebt hat, und da versuche ich bei euch jetzt einen Schalter umzulegen, denkt an Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Oder denkt an den Film Der kleine Lord, der immer zu Weihnachten kommt und wo der kleine Lord dann in ein Slum hinauskommt, ja, wo die Menschen in der Gosse leben, nichts zum Essen und nichts zum Trinken haben. Und dieser kleine Lord dann hingeht und zum Opa sagt, Halle, das geht ja nicht, wir müssen ja die Situation verbessern. Und diese Slum-Situation, die finden wir heute noch an vielen, vielen Orten der Welt. Und Don Bosco ist ein Partner, der vor Ort sorgt, damit Kinder und Jugendlichen aus diesem Umfeld herauskommen, bessere Lebensbedingungen haben, natürlich auch zu helfen, dass die Eltern bessere Lebensbedingungen haben und dass die Zukunft der Kinder die besser ist. Wir sagen dazu, El Buen Vivir, das gute Leben für alle, das ist eigentlich das Ziel. Nicht der Wohlstand für wenige, sondern das gute Leben für alle. Und das ist auch der Ansatz von Don Bosco weltweit. Heute helfen, wo Hilfe notwendig ist, heute die Kinder von der Straße zu holen, heute die Kinder zu unterrichten, aber, und das ist ganz, ganz wichtig, zu schauen, dass es morgen diese Unrechtssituationen nicht mehr gibt. Unrechtssituationen wie Kinderarbeit, Ausbeutung, Umweltzerstörung, Ausbeutung der Eltern. Und dann sind wir ganz schnell bei uns in Wien, in Österreich, wo wir sehen, dass wir eine Mitverantwortung haben. 102 Produkte, die wir nützen, in der Küche, im Wohnzimmer, im Kleiderschrank, im Garten, sind mit Kinderarbeit behaftet. 102 Produkte, da gehört der Kaffee dazu, der Kakao, das Gold, die seltenen Erden im Handy, das Gewand, die Haarverlängerung, die Schminke und. Ihr findet das alles bei uns auf der Webseite jugendeinewelt/Kinderarbeit. Und diese Kinderarbeit und diese Ausbeutung, das ist etwas, wo sich Jugend eine Welt auf die Fahnen schreibt, politisch dagegen anzukämpfen. Damit es nicht sein muss, dass Eltern auf unsere Kosten in Brasilien Orangen ernten, Kaffee ernten, Kakaobohnen ernten und so wenig bezahlt kriegen, dass wir Spenden aus Österreich schicken müssen, dass deren Kinder in die Schule gehen können. Das ist eine absolut perverse Situation. Das Ziel muss sein, dass die Bauern, die für uns arbeiten, so viel Gehalt bekommen, dass sie selber leben können und die Kinder in die Schule schicken. Und diese Beziehung, heute zu helfen auf den Straßen der Großstädte, dass Kinder und Jugendliche Straßenkinder jetzt eine Hilfe kriegen und gleichzeitig bei uns dafür zu kämpfen, dass morgen diese Ausbeutung in Ländern des globalen Südens nicht mehr stattfindet, das ist tagtäglicher Auftrag und Aufgabe von Jugend eine Welt. Und damit schließe ich auch an ein riesengroßes Danke an euch alle, die zuschauen, die mithelfen, die mitarbeiten als Mitarbeiterinnen, Mitarbeiter, Freiwillige, aber auch an alle Spender, Spenderinnen, Wohltäter, Philanthropen, was auch immer. Wir brauchen viele Kräfte, wir brauchen viele Hände, wir brauchen viel Geld, um Partner wie die Salesianer Don Bosco im globalen Süden, in Afrika, Asien und Lateinamerika zu unterstützen. Und ich habe vorhin auf den kleinen Lord hingewiesen, ich habe gesagt, auf den Dom Sawyer, Hackli, Berifin, wer in Tirol wohnt, der kennt die Geschichte der Schwabenkinder. Die Schwabenkinder sind auch mehrfach schon im Fernsehen gelaufen. Der Film, der zeigt, wie es damals und noch gar nicht so lange her, vor 100 Jahren, wo wir Kinder aus Tirol in den Allgäu geschickt haben, dass junge Kinder ab 5, ab 6 im Frühjahr über die Berge sind, im Allgäu bei den Großbauern gearbeitet haben, als sogenannte Kindersklaven, als Schwabenkinder mit nackerte Füße sind die Kurpfladen rein, damit es im März nicht so kalt ist und im Herbst wieder zurückgekommen sind. Der Grund, der Anlass, Armut, weil die Tiroler zu wenig gehabt haben, dass sie die Kinder zum Essen geben können. Und ähnliche Situation, Armut als Ursache von Armut für die Familie, aber auch Armut für Kinder und damit fehlende Bildung, das sehen wir heute in der Welt. Und wer im Sommer im Lechtal ist, da wird es als Theaterstück aufgeführt. In Elbigenalb kann ich nur jedem empfehlen, dort vorbeizukommen und sich das anzusehen. So viel als Einführung zu dem heutigen Tag. Wir haben Tag der Straßenkinder am 31. Januar. Wir haben immer jedes Jahr diesen Tag rund um das Don Bosco Fest. Und jedes Jahr laden wir einen Gast ein, zu uns nach Wien zu kommen, nach Österreich zu kommen und über seine Arbeit zu berichten. Der Pater Rafael wird heute das am Kolumbien aufhängen, aber auch erzählen, was er in der Welt draußen sieht und was sein großes Anliegen ist. Von daher, bienvenido de nuevo, Padre Rafael. Gracias por tu venida. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Estamos muy alegres de escuchar tu presentación ahora y por favor, el turno es tuyo.
Gracias a ti por la invitación y a todos de UNB por el gran trabajo que hacemos juntos. Then, I am so happy to be here among you because for me as a Salesian of Don Bosco, it's a very good opportunity to share with all of you that are our stakeholders, our friends in the sharing of this beautiful mission of Don Bosco around the world, how to accompany young people in very bad situations to reach their dreams. And their dreams are starting by their rights. Then, myself as a Salesian, I am a Colombian, yes. I born in Cali, Colombia, 48 years since I had the opportunity to grow up in my country with a situation of violence. And I remember when I was a little kid and I was watching the news and I was always answering to my mom, but this is the reality of our country. And she always was very clear and she said always, yes, but we need to change this situation of our country. Today, Colombia has another opportunity to grow up, but unfortunately, the problematic of my country has been extended to other countries that are suffering these situations. And I can observe around the world this situation of suffering in a lot of young people, that they are being victims of the narco traffic or violence in the families in the diverse situations of their societies. What is my personal experience when I decided to start as a Salesian working in the social field? When I was 20 years old, being a student of philosophy in Medellin, Colombia, I was working in a beautiful social work we have there as a Salesians called Ciudad Don Bosco. It's the biggest institution in our country, working with street children, child soldiers, and another kind of issues of the young people in Colombia. And I remember very well a young guy called Alex Mosquera. Alex was a 14 years old guy, and he was always putting in problem their colleagues, their companions, and he was always having problems with consume of drugs. And myself, I thought I was committed with his formation. Then I thought the best opportunity to him was to ask the judge and our superiors to translate him to another institution. And after 2 months, we received the order of the judge to translate this guy to another institution to get better treatment for drug addictions. And it was on a Friday, and the order was to start on Monday. Then this guy went to his family, went into his grandmother's house, but on Sunday he was killed. He died. And this was very awful for me because I was thinking that we were convinced that it could be the best opportunity for him. But in the other hand, he found his death because during this weekend, he found his ancient friends in a narco traffic band, and he was killed during a fight with another criminal group. Then, for me, this experience encouraged me to start a company, real people, offering to them care and accompany to them in their own necessities, not only in an institutional way, but like real friends. And from that moment, I asked my superiors to leave me working always in this field. And for 16 years, I was working in Ciudad Don Bosco in different positions. Afterwards, I had the opportunity to be also the director of this beautiful institution. And in that moment, I had also different experiences with different kind of problematics of the young people in my country. For example, as Reinhard was saying, we were working with exploited young people in the mines of carbon, because there are a lot of countries that they continue using carbon, they buy carbon from Colombia, but in the illegal mines that they are always having small spaces to take the carbon, they are using young people, boys and children, and young girls also, because they are small. Then we were convinced that we needed to go to those places to accompany to them, to take them to take out them to these places and to offer to them education. We had a lot of problems with criminal bands, narco traffic, because this is a very big business. But we need to construct, we need to build together a new culture of justice and peace for the people. And justice and peace are starting by respecting human rights. And with the convincement of this kind of respect to the dignity of the child, we will have other opportunities to accompany our young people to reach their dreams. Then it was motivated also for another kind of visions we had in Ciudad Don Bosco, because Colombia has suffered a lot, but has built a lot of new opportunities for the people. My country, thanks God, is better right now. We continue having a lot of challenges, but we are convinced that with the education, we will do it. We will reach our dream of peace. And as Salesians, with the method of the San John Bosco, we took the conviction about to work in a real preventive way in this social field. Then we proposed, as a result of a research we made with all our work during the 70s, 80s, and 90s in this beautiful institution called Ciudad Don Bosco, we have all the histories of young people, and we realized that the big problem is on the families. Because sometimes in countries like mine, like Colombia, relationships into the families are very bad. And the natural place of every human being is his own family. Then we decided to start working with the families. Then we decided to take the same model of Don Bosco in social services, working with social workers, social pedagogists, social psychologists, and we religious people to go together to the neighbors and the most dangerous neighbors. And we established with different small alliances, for example, with the parishes, we took some small places to establish oratories or youth centers, proposing activities for the young people. Then through the sport, arts, and other kind of strategies to manage the free time of the young people, we realized what kind of families were vulnerable places for their own children. And in this opportunity, we enter, into the families, and we try to reconstruct, to rebuild the relations between the family and their children. Sometimes situations are so bad that the big risk of our young boys is to go out all the day on the streets or migrate definitely to live on the streets. Then, with this strategy, we wanted to avoid this difficult passage of the boys through the streets. Then, we are working on the families, and if the situation on the family is very bad, we have the opportunity to take those children in agreement with their family and the Instituto Colombiano of Bienestar Familiar, who is belonging to the social sector in my country, and with the judge, we agree a period more or less of 6 months to take the children and drive them into our institutions. Yes, and during this time, we are looking to establish better relations on the family, working also by installing some capacity, some economic capacities, skills on the families to contribute, for the autonomy of the accompaniment for their children. And during this time, we are also accompanying about the careful of these boys in education, school, restitution, their rights into the education, and also we are working with different strategies for their health. And in this kind, we have a lot of strategies and stories.
Father, if you speak about all these stories, could you tell us one or two personal stories you lived with this kind of children? I am sure you have. You told me one was very impactful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, could you share it with our audience that we can hear really what does it mean? Change life. Yeah. How can we see it? How could you see it? How could you feel it?
I will speak about Daniela. Daniela is a girl that in 2015 arrived in our Salesian house because, and he was 15 years old at that time. And during 6 years, she was part of the FARC, yes, the guerrillas in Colombia. Then she went by his own way into the FARC at the age of 9. She was a little girl. And she decided to go out of her family because in her family, the spouse of her mother was abusing on her. Then she found in the guerrilla a group where she felt as a little girl in the forest of Colombia. She found protection and he grew up there. But in this group, sometimes she was also abused. She was obliged to work as a watch girl, yes, for the security of these criminal structures. And she was obliged also to use arms and to fight against the army of Colombia in the forest of the south of my country. During a fight between the army and guerrillas, he was captured with the army of Colombia. She was dragged on to the Instituto Colombiano de Bienestar Familiar, the Colombian Institute for the Family, and in agreement with her, when she was 15 years old, he went to our house and she started a pathway of only 3 years with us because we have only until 18 years to accompany young people to install their own skills to be autonomous in the society. The first step we made with her, it was to contact their family, and it was so difficult. She was very close. She was always negative into the relation with their colleagues or ourselves. But when finally we localized her family with the help of the Red Cross, we went with an helicopter to the forest. We spoke with her mother and her 2 brothers, and we bring them to Medellin, and they passed with her 2 weeks. It was awful the first day because Daniela doesn't want to see her mother because she was afraid. Then the first intervention we need to have was with her mother to convince her mother, like as a mother, they needed to ask for forgive to her daughter and to open their hearts. And in 2 weeks, it was a beautiful alliance between Daniela, her mother, and her siblings to reach some goals. And from that moment, Daniela opened her mind it was a healthy moment for his heart also. She started studying because she didn't know read and write. Yes. Today, Daniela is a professional. She is married. She has one child, beautiful. She is a nurse, and she is working with young people that is victim in Colombia of these criminal groups. She, in 2 years, because she was convinced of the beautiful pathway that she found in our Salesian house, that she needed to fight for her future. Then she learned a lot of the school. She finished until his 20 years the school with a very specific program made for them. She also learned in our Tibet center. Yes, she was working in our imprenta, la tipografía.
Yeah, typography.
Yes. Then
Printing press.
Printing, yes. And with this knowledge, he paid her own studies, and we continues collaborating with them with another house we build for this kind of people that is over 18. And finally, at the end, she reached the university. She got his title last year, and she started working in a clinic. But also, she is offering his work, her work, for the good of the poor people. But this is another interesting topic because in 2016, we made a special documentary about the stories of some young people that were victims or this kind of exploitation, child soldiers. And we came to some countries of Europe to advocate for them. And a lot of people were asking to her if they wanted to remain in Europe. And at that time, she answered, no. Europe is beautiful. Those cities are beautiful. But I can see you had a very bad war here, because in that moment we were in Köln.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a place where there were the pictures, yes, of the destruction of the city. And she was asking, this war happened here. And you had the capacity to rebuild your society. Then I don't want to remain here in Europe. I want to return to my country to contribute, with the development of the war, of the bad results of the war in my country.
Excellent. It is one really impactful story, and I know you have much more of them. If we have a look to the Colombia nowadays, the war is over, the guerrilla reintegration program is still working. Is this a big topic, or are there other groups of children remaining in the streets where you focus on? Could you give a small introduction without too long? But what is the focus at the moment? Is this the reintegration of the FARC child soldier, the poor children in the street? Is that the indigenous people? What could you tell us to explain a little bit to understand the situation of Colombia nowadays?
Okay, thank you. We need to understand that Colombia is a very big country, and also we are 52 million people on the country. Then, in our cities and in many places, if you go there, you can see like a normal situation of on a Latin American country. But we are suffering a very big social gap. Yes. And right now, we need to understand another level of the situation, that the dialogues of peace were only with the FARC, and FARC was only one of many structures, criminal structures. Yes. Then the ancient, the former structure of the FARC already disappeared, but there were some people belonging to the FARC that they were not agreeing with this dialogue. Then, as a result, they are divided in two more criminal groups, yes, in Colombia right now. And in the other hand, we still having other guerrillas, then like ELN. And we have a lot of criminal groups that are international networks for crime. They are led by narco-traffic organizations led from other countries. Then, as a result of this, third point, yes, Colombia has had the opportunity to develop in some areas. We are another country. We are a beautiful country with a beautiful culture, with a beautiful possibilities, but we still having troubles with this kind of risks, because this is like a cancer, yes, in the body, and the healthy components of our body are most of them, but the parts that contain the cancer could make a lot of troubles for our bodies. Then in Colombia, we have this opportunity to continue educating young people, but also we have the opportunity to realize that we need to create another structure, another capacities for the young people to find better conditions in their economic lives, because unfortunately, narco-traffic mafia is like a new proposal for young people. And we can find different genres of gender of music or movies that are promoting this style of life, and young people are taking this model as a project of life for themselves.
Mm-hmm. All what we can see, if we have a look on Colombia and see how people live there, the visibility is boys, more boys than girls in the street, working, offering their service. But it is said that the situation of girls is worse because they are working behind the doors. Perhaps you could explain a little bit the situation of girls working as servants, working as slaves behind the doors. Because often if we are there as tourists, if we see pictures, it is focused on the situation of boys, but the situation of girls is worse.
Yes, it's worse. Because girls continue being exploited in prostitution. Then, but also boys in prostitution. But criminal organizations, they are always making the different profiles of the people. Then they are always locating people in the strategic places for them. And yes, as you were saying, the girls are always, or most of them are always behind the door. In that way, we can find exploitation in different levels for them, but also they are not participating they are not visible, yes, for us or for a lot of organizations. Also because this new situation of the street children is worse, because in the past years, we were able to identify street children because they were always living under the bridges, or they were always with very awful clothes. But nowadays, street children, they have a home of reference, without family or without parents, but they have like a home of reference. They are very well dressed, and this is very difficult to identify. Yeah. Then we have three big risks with them. First one is micro traffic. Yes, because when a child is living most of the time on the street, they are localized by these criminal structures. They are being taken by those structures, and in that way they profile them. Yes, and they put into them some small responsibilities. Yes, like to watch where is the police, or to drive some drugs for dealers because they are minors and they are not so controlled by the police, for example. And in that way, second part, they will be integrated in those big criminal organizations. Mm-hmm. Then this is another way of exploitation. Yes, it's true that most of young people are entering in those structures willingly, not in a freedom way, because they are victims, because they are minors. And third is prostitution. Yes, then we know that Colombia has developed a lot its capacities of tourism, but until today it's not a responsible tourism, because a lot of people is going to my country to abuse of the girls and boys, and the situation needs to be controlled.
Mm-hmm. When we have a look to the program of Don Bosco, Salesian and Sister in the country, there is a lot of infrastructure, there are a lot of employees, we have a lot of Salesians and Sisters. We know that Trump has cut a lot of his money sent to US aid, and US aid distributed a lot of funds to America Latina. Mm-hmm. So a lot of money is missing now. How does it affect the shortage of US aid and the cut of support from US and Trump, the work of the Salesian and of other Catholic NGOs in the region?
Definitely. Because in our region, OIM or other institutions like that were promoted, but USAID, we don't have more resources coming from them. And for example, the support to reintegration, the support for schooling, the support for different programs of technical training has suffered a lot. And a lot of those institutions that were depending in most of their percentage of his investment coming for these institutions, they closed. And we are struggling a lot as institutions of the church, because we need to take our accreditation, yes, to functioning to offer this kind of services in our countries. Then if we don't have this kind of agreements, this kind of connections, we will be in the risk to close our services and to not have more accreditation, more permission to offer this kind of services. Because this is not only about resources of money, no, because with the resource, there is also the possibility to offer the service.
Let's have a look more on the experience you could bring in now on the level of the congregation. You worked a lot, and we focused now on what happened in Colombia. But as Jugend Eine Welt and Don Bosco, you also personally cooperate, and we collaborate, and we support projects also in other parts of the world, like Nigeria, like India, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Ethiopia. You are traveling around the world, you meet a lot of Salesians. Perhaps you could give us a small insight. What means the world for street children or young at risk, which is a broader description of this group, yeah? What could you experience in the first years serving in the congregation on the Don Bosco offer in the Global South, let's say?
Yes, excellent. We Salesians are present in 138 nations right now. And in every one of them, we are offering this kind of social services with the same method of Don Bosco's preventive system. Afterwards, also, we are focused in two big levels. Attention on the soul, on the ground, yes, because we need to answer to the different necessities of the people. Then we have like denomination of 11 kind of services into this social field. We are working with youth at risk, street children, young people in conflict with the law, addictions. We are working with poor communities and originary communities. For example, in some countries, we are working with indigenous people or gypsies. And also, we are offering structures of accompaniment for women that are head of their families. And we are supporting also a lot of initiatives to accompany people with different kinds of addictions and that are held, they need to recover their health because they are suffering, for example, HIV, yes, or we have structures for kids that were born with this kind of illnesses. Then around the world, Salesians, we are committed with more than 3,200 structures, yes, for social works, as I recently mentioned. And I can observe that the world is suffering the same bad situations in different levels. For example, in the developed countries, we have a lot of situations. We know very well that we are struggling with mental health. Yes. And in these developed societies, we are seeing the phenomena of the suicide and also people that is not able to configure their own dreams. Also, we are struggling with a lot of situations of violence in these developed countries. In countries that are on the way of development, as I said, for example, in Latin America, we attending this dramatic situation of the culture of narcotraffic and mafia. And in other countries, yes, very poor countries, we are struggling with the absolutely absence of the states and the families. In those places, we are watching, we are observing how violence against minors is worse. Because in some countries, for example, for begging, yes, a lot of children at the age of 2 or 3 years, they are being born in their hands and their fingers are being pasted to the hand, yes, like this. And this is very, very, very hard for young people. Then their muscles will be always destroyed. And this is to cause bad feelings on the people, and people will offer to them money. Then Salesians, we are committed in reestablish the health of those people, contributing in this education, but also we are looking other ways to rescue people, for example, girls that are always given in marriage. Yes, in some cultures, it was like a tradition, but today we are committed with avoid this kind of behaviors in the different cultures. We continue rescue of young people from the streets and for the situation of exploitation in different kind of works and prostitution. Then we Salesians, we learned that we need to cooperate, we need to conform networks, yes, because we are present in all the countries in different levels, and we have the opportunity in another part to offer data and to negotiate, yes, to advocate in the different fora that decision will be taken for the good of the people. And we need to contribute, yes, with our experience to be present for the good of our young people, to offer to them new possibilities of rights on their lives.
When you are speaking about cooperation, I'm thinking about the work we have done together. You did it on the spot. We tried to be like a backbone, to look for sponsors, to send money, to help with volunteers and senior experts. How important is the support of Salesian works in the Global South, given by NGOs like Jugend Deine Welt and others you have in Germany and Switzerland, in Spain, in Italy? How important is this relationship between NGOs and the work in the target country?
Yes, this is crucial, because international cooperation is not only about politics in the level of the states. This is a human responsibility, because all the human culture is only one. No matter gender, no matter religion, no matter language, no matter nationality. Yes, we need to work together for the good of the people, because we can't offer best condition for someone of our young people when the other big part is suffering a lot because of the bad behavior of other cultures. Then we need to continue offering help through the different capacities we have. One of them is volunteering. Then, with Jugend Deine Welt, we have developed models of education, for example, in Colombia, yes. We have developed beautiful strategies, yes, to build new pathways for the young people. And we made this with volunteers, yes, young volunteers that are coming to our works, yes, and they are offering their lives, their capacities, but also they are creating the culture of solidarity with our young people. I will give you an example. For example, a little boy that has suffered abandon from his family, abandon from the state, yes, they are traumatized. And when they feel that a volunteer coming, for example, from Austria, is giving his life for them, yes, they will be able to feel this solidarity to themselves, and they will open their hearts. When they feel that a person with another color of skin, with another language, is trying to be in touch with them and is opening their hearts, they will open also their hearts, yes, and they will offer to them friendship. And this is one of the best part of our work. Senior experts, they are helping to us in many countries around the world to install different capacities. And this is a richness we have around the world, because in countries like Austria, we have a lot of people with very good experience that can help other cultures to understand how to use better the resources and the knowledge, yes, of the humanity. And finally, yes, it's very important to contribute with money, yes, because we need not only to pay salaries, not only to buy groceries, but we need to maintain the other part of the investments we need to do in association with the governments. then this is a circular action that will offer very good conditions for all of us.
Yeah, thank you, Rafael.
Thank you.
I would like to come back to the general question, und ich wechsle jetzt auf Deutsch nochmals für ein paar Erklärungen. Wenn wir jetzt hören, was in Kolumbien passiert, wenn wir hören, was die Kongregation Don Bosco auf Weltebene macht, dann ist es auf jeden Fall, Antworten zu geben auf Probleme, die die Zeit uns herausfordert. Und ein Thema, das Slogan von Jugend Deine Welt, ist ja Bildung überwindet Armut. Das ist ein Angebot an junge Menschen, Burschen, Mädchen, Menschen, die ausgebeutet werden. Und unter Bildung versteht Don Bosco Schulbildung, Berufsbildung und Herzensbildung. Das ist das, was junge Menschen in Don Bosco Einrichtungen erfahren. Aber genauso gut und genauso wichtig ist das, was der Pater Rafael gesagt hat, Relationship, Beziehung, Corazon, die Liebe zu den Menschen, das Aufeinander zugehen, das gemeinschaftlich zu machen. Und ich glaube, das ist etwas, was wir gemeinsam immer wieder umsetzen, diese Sorge um den jungen Menschen. Und dieses Thema Bildung überwindet Armut ist das, was Jugend Deine Welt in Österreich umsetzt, mit eurer Hilfe als Mitarbeiter und Mitarbeiterinnen, mit eurer Hilfe als Spender, Sponsoren, Spenderinnen, Philanthropen. Und wenn wir hier reden und uns austauschen, sind gerade 3 Kollegen und Kolleginnen in Äthiopien unterwegs in Tigray und organisieren mit den Salesianern vor Ort zukünftige Hilfe, die wir finanziert bekommen haben. Am Wochenende reisen Kollegen, Kolleginnen nach Indien, um Projekte besuchen und die nächsten Schritte zu planen. Ende Februar ist ein nächster Besuch in Indien anstehend und wir bekommen wieder Besuch von Salesianern und Don Bosco-Partnern, die auf der Durchreise in Europa sind und uns über ihre Arbeit erzählen, uns berichten, was sie tun und wo wir gemeinsam überlegen können, wie wir Antworten geben auf diese Fragen der Gegenwart. Dieses an die Grenzen der Welt gehen, dieses eine Welt, das Sie bei Jugend eine Welt im Namen finden. Es gibt nur eine Welt und keine zweite, keine dritte. Wir hängen voneinander ab und das immer wieder klar zu machen, sichtbar zu machen und in der Öffentlichkeit zu vertreten und darauf hinzuweisen, das ist eine Aufgabe, die wir nun seit 28 Jahren umsetzen und dafür bin ich Ihnen sehr, sehr dankbar, bin ich euch dankbar, dass ihr diesen Weg mit uns geht. Und ich würde gerne jetzt den Rest der Zeit noch nützen, auf Fragen zu antworten, die ihr uns stellt über den Chat. Die Kollegen sitzen hier und schauen da drauf. Traut euch, fragt, was habt ihr vielleicht nicht verstanden, was müssen wir besser erklären, was wollt ihr noch wissen von uns? Nützt die Zeit, dass der Pater Rafael hier bei uns ist. Morgen gibt es noch einmal die Möglichkeit, ein Treffen mit Spender und Spenderinnen, mit Förderern hier bei uns im Büro. Aber jetzt ist euer Moment, eure Fragen und Anliegen an uns zu richten.
So one question we can already ask Pater Rafael was that you work with children who are, I want to say, almost are being enslaved by FARC, by criminals. Is it dangerous for you to get those children out? Like, are the Salesians being threatened because there is profit behind, enslaving those children, basically?
Until this moment, we don't have had this kind of problems. Why? First of all, because as Salesians, we are very well recognized in our country. This kind of organization, they know us and they know where we are located. Yeah. But in the other hand, also is because when a child of a young man is arriving to our structures with our organizations, is because between the government, yes, and the families, they agree to send the young people to our structures. And also, this is not easy, but also with the young people, we need to make, like, from the first moment, this kind of alliances, yes, to propose the pathway of the installation of their skills for them in our institution. It's not easy. It's not easy. There are always some kind of risk, but we are acting always with respect. And also because as Salesians and as children of Don Bosco, we have the politic of the our father, yes? We are not involved, yes, in any kind of political parties, yes? We are working always with every government, with every institution that is available to build with us the culture of justice and peace.
The next question, I think, is because there are more and more like social media is being banned for young people. The question was, what are your experiences on the effects of social media on young people and children in countries of the Global South?
Yes, thank you for that question. Social media, artificial intelligence, they are very good instruments for us. Pope Leo and our Rector Major, Don Fabio Attar, has a request to us, to Salesians, to know very well what is the anthropology that social media and artificial intelligence are taking to us, are bringing to us in this moment. Why? Because social media or artificial intelligence are not bad or not good. Those are instruments and are in our hands. Yes? Then the impact need pass through education. But a lot of young people that they don't have the possibility to receive education, yes, they are using social media. They are using artificial intelligence influenced by other bad structures, criminal structure, to commit a lot of delinquential actions. Then we need to educate to them. And it is also clear for the society that social media and artificial intelligence in this kind of issues are putting in a very bad condition a lot of people, but mostly young people, because if we don't are offering to them capacities, skills, education, they will remain in the ignorance and they will be victims of the prostitution and another kind of transactions that they will drive to them to very bad future for them and their families.
The next question was, how are you able to reach out, especially to girls, because they seem to be hidden away in private spaces, or what's the process behind reaching out to those girls?
As I said, it's not easy. It was easier 20 years ago, yes, with street children. Right now, if we don't work together with the families and with the entire society, maybe we will arrive very late to the girls, because we are struggling right now. Until this moment, we arrive to the girls, yes, through different actions and mostly with the Salesian sisters. But it is true that girls are continues being the most abandoned part of the humanity until now, because unfortunately this kind of for the situations for women around the story continues being and continues putting women in the last part of the list for the restructure of the rights of the humanity.
So somebody in the chat, Hani, you raised your hand. I think you should be able to just unmute yourself and then you can ask your own question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the talk that you just gave us and the insights. My question, like the first story you told about Daniela was very moving for me. And you said that it was a hard process to get the family together again, like the mother and with the siblings. And so there are like I know about some reasons why children get go to the cities or are on the streets, and some of them are like that the families abandon them or kind of like are not looking after them. So I can also think guess there are some reunions that do not work. I love to hear the success stories, but how often does it not work to get the children back to the families?
Yes, it happens. It happens because we have different kinds of families. Yes, most of them are living with an uncle or with a grandmother, for example. In countries like Latin America, grandmothers are in charge of their grandsons a lot of times, because there were some generations of parents that they were not taking care of their children, and they are lost in drugs or prostitution or another bad issues. And there is a very big lack, yes, of parents in our cultures. Then we have another strategy, yes, is by families that could be friends of our programs, yes. Then if the boy or the girl is not able to reach their own family because it doesn't exist, or because unfortunately continues being a vulnerable place for them, we are offering through the institutions of the government of Colombia the best families that are welcoming them to have different experiences, yes, in this way. Then they are allowed to share some weekends with this kind of families or times of vacation. Then with our structures, with our psychologists and our social workers, those families are accompanied, yes, to know what is the profile of the kid, yes, and how they need to support our processes, yes, in a normal life in a family. And in the other hand, adolescents that they don't are able to return to their families, we are accompanied to them, yes, to the autonomy, and offer to them the most close situation that could drive them to a normal situation in the reinsertion of the society.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right now there are no more questions, but I saw Monica who just raised your hand. You can just unmute yourself and ask.
Yes, you told that you hear me?
We unfortunately cannot understand you here on our end right now. Maybe just write your question in the chat, because I think your microphone doesn't work properly.
Do you hear me now better?
Yes.
Okay. You told us that you work with any organization who wants to help. Did it occur that a narco organization offered you money for helping, and what would you do?
No. When I said any organization is an official organization, and who is our stakeholder, because we as Salesian, we need to define what who can be our stakeholder. Then, for example, if the other organization is sharing with us our values, we will take on count this organization as our stakeholder. In the other hand, no. And this is not allowed to us, and this is not permitted by our Salesian identity. Yes, because it could be a contradiction that we will accept this kind of money of criminal organization when we are fighting against these kind of behaviors.
Father, while we wait for other questions, perhaps you can give us an insight. What does it mean to work in the Central House of the Salesians in Rome? You came just into Austria from Damascus. You spent some days in Austria, traveling around. You have been in Upper Austria, here and there. From here, you go back to another place. You travel a lot. You see a lot of people. You listen a lot to people. How is it to stay in this position and in this charge, going around the world? How do you feel? Yeah, is this something you like to do? Give us a little bit of insight. Today you have Viennese food. Yesterday you had Damascus food. Tomorrow you have Indian food. Then it was Italian food. You never sleep in the same bed twice. How is your life? Give us a little bit of insight.
I am a lucky man because I have, until this moment, a very good stomach. Yes, and I don't have problems with the bed or with weather. Yes, I suffer a lot with jet lag. Yes, this is a little awful for me. Okay, I need to say that if I am organizing all this kind of travel, is because those are strategic for our organization in Rome. Yes, and for example, we decided last summer in our General Council what could be our accompaniment. Yes, because we are on 16 people in the General Council, and all of us we are traveling. Then myself, as General Councilor for Youth Ministry, I am dedicating all my efforts to accompany our provinces, our Salesian brothers that are working in context of war. That's the reason why I was last week in Middle East. Yes, I am here to support this great initiative of Jungen eine Welt about the accompaniment in these kind of countries. And next week, I will travel in another countries or in Africa, for example, Congo Goma, that they are having a very big war there, and also in Ethiopia. Afterwards, I will go, also I will return to Rome, and I will visit Ukraine, and also Lebanon and Syria, and like this, yes, and also Myanmar. Because we need to accompany and to encourage all of our Salesian brothers, all of our great stakeholders, yes, to continue building together this culture for the peace and the solidarity. Then that's the reason why for us Salesians in the General Councilor is strategic for us, not only travel, not only knowing and eating different kind of food, that this is delicious, and this is a beautiful opportunity also because it could build social fraternity, but it's because we think that we are located in the most needed part around the world.
Thank you, Father. Let's have a look if there are more questions.
First of all, Doris Strauss would like to thank you very much for your moving presentation and for sharing your experiences. You met her yesterday in Upper Austria. The other thing is a question that we got is you travel around a lot. You just said so. As a whole, do you see society in our world right now moving into the right direction when it comes to, especially when it comes to children's rights, or do you see it right now moving into the wrong direction?
Yes, I think in the world level, humanity has done beautiful steps through human rights, especially for young people and children. But this is not enough. And in countries like mine, we always made 2 steps ahead and maybe 3, yes, to return back. But maybe it's the human condition. the most important thing is to be aware about this situation, and as society or a part of our society, as people of faith or people committed with the human rights, we need to act together. We need to continue being the voice on the desert, yes, for to offer the possibility to the young people who has not the possibility to being heard about for different structures around the world.
As of now, we don't have any other questions.
Yeah, in that case, I would like to ask you for a final word to our audience, co-workers of Jugend eine Welt, volunteers, senior experts, and people with a big heart who helps us, who supports us with money, with information, with networks. So perhaps to close the session here, you could give some words of motivation, not to lose the path and go ahead. So let's listen to your final words, and also take the opportunity to say thank you to all of you who have been with us, who has listened to the words of Rafael, who will stay 2 days still with us, and then to go back. The last word I will say after your motivation session now.
Previous starting, I was joking with Sebastian and Miguel that they are here, and we are very grateful and thankful with them. And we were speaking about this football ball, yes, and with this pencil, because we need to continue writing, yes, a new future for the people, yes, with the color of Jugend eine Welt, and we need to play on the same team as only one word, Jugend eine Welt. Thank you for all of you, because with your support, we will continue offering hope to the young people around all the world in 138 nations, and we will continue making together the dream of Don Bosco in this planet, and we will have the same opportunity to continue being only one team with different positions, but only one team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father. Das Stichwort ist schon gefallen, Don Bosco am 31. Januar, also in wenigen Stunden, wird weltweit das Don Bosco-Fest gefeiert. Die Tage davor, die Tage danach. Überall auf der Welt kommen junge Menschen zusammen mit Salesianern, mit Don Bosco-Schwestern. Es wird gefeiert, getanzt, Theater aufgeführt, wie zur Zeit von Don Bosco in seinem Oratorium in Turin. Es ist ein großer Moment, zurückzublicken auf das, was geschehen ist und was bereits geschehen ist, und auf der anderen Seite auch nach vorn zu blicken und zu schauen, was wir noch alles tun können. Gemeinsam, Salesianer Don Boscos, Don Bosco-Schwestern, Jugend eine Welt, und das mit eurer Unterstützung. Ich möchte vielleicht noch dazu sagen, was nicht alle wissen, Don Bosco war einmal in Österreich für wenige Tage, und wir haben die Einladung bekommen nach Lanzenkirchen, um beim Gottesdienst dort dabei zu sein, um ein paar Worte zu sprechen über Don Bosco, was aus seinem Werk, das damals begonnen hat, heute geworden ist. Und wenn man sich überlegt, damals schon der ältere Don Bosco im Zug mit vielen Zugabschnitten umsteigen, mit Holzwaggons von Turin hierher nach Wiener Neustadt zu kommen, mit der Kutsche noch einmal 10 Kilometer, bis er dann bei seinem Ort gewesen ist. Dann war er ein paar wenige Tage hier und ist wieder zurückgefahren. Das war so eine Zeit, die damals dann ausgelöst hat, auch viele Erweiterungen von Don Bosco in Europa, und heute, wie wir schon hören, Don Bosco weltweit vertreten, und wir sehen das, wir hören das, und darauf möchte ich auch hinweisen, nicht immer haben wir die Möglichkeit, Gäste bei uns zu haben, um mit euch zu teilen, aber ihr findet auf eurer Webseite von uns Informationen, Facebook, LinkedIn und vor allem in unserem Magazin Giovanni, das ich euch bitte, wenn ihr es noch nicht habt, einfach schreibt eine E-Mail, ruft uns an, wir schicken das gerne zu, verteilt euch, gebt es weiter an Menschen, die vielleicht Interesse haben an der Arbeit. Wir machen das so wie Don Bosco, wir geben das gratis ab, Klammer, und wir freuen uns über Spenden, Klammer zu. Aber wie Don Bosco, wir wollen die Good News hinaustragen in die Welt, weil nur gemeinsam kommen wir einen Schritt weiter. Muchas gracias, Padre.
Dankeschön.
Sido un gusto. Er versteht mehr, als was er spricht. Ja. Danke euch, alles Gute. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Kinder des Staubes, niemand fragt, ob es euch gibt. Keiner hat euch je geliebt, nutzlos wie der Staub.